My name is Claire Laws. I'm a data governance advisor for the Pension Regulator. And can everyone hear okay? Yeah? Cool. So before I was a data governance advisor, I spent 20 years working for Virgin Atlantic looking after their upper class services. So I am passionate about data governance and I'm passionate about service delivery, both of which could change the world for the better if we could just get them right. So when I first came across data governance, I was captivated by the genius of it. What a simple answer to a complex question, I thought. What if we could combine the beauty of great service with the genius of data governance? Beauty and genius is a match made in heaven, right? With the potential to transform every business for the better. But I'm not here to tell you what data governance is, so I'm going to talk about some of my experiences and how I believe using some skills from the service industry can help us deliver our programme. So if you're not sure what data governance is, if it's all new to you, then this is what it is in 10 seconds. So data governance basically answers these questions. So what data is held where? How's it stored? Who can access it and why? Who's accountable for it? How good is it? And what laws and regulations must we obey? So that's it in 10 seconds. You won't get a clearer example of data governance today. So what are we going to cover? So we're going to look at why do we need to think differently about data governance? What is data governance as a customer service? How do we deliver the goods? How do you put the me into your framework? And how do we keep going? So let's kick off with a bit of navel gazing. So for those of you that are delivering a data governance program, ask yourself this question. How's your data governance program going? Are people queuing up to be on your program? Does everyone want a piece of you? And do you feel like a rock star at work? I'm guessing the answer to one or more of those questions is no. After all, we're all here, aren't we? Trying to figure out how we can get faster results, how we can do things better, where we've gone wrong. So maybe we need to rethink our data governance approach. So 10 years ago, Gartner predicted that 90% of organisations will fail at their first attempts at data governance. And the reasons they cited for this were a lack of senior leadership, being IT driven instead of business driven, not linking it to your business goals, and thinking if you throw some shiny technology at your data governance program, it will solve everything. So these reasons have been around for 10 years. We've heard them all before, and we know to avoid them. So what's the real problem? So in a survey this year, 93% of participants said that people, and to a lesser extent processes, were the obstacle. 72% reported they've yet to forge a data culture, and 69% reported they haven't created a data-driven organisation. So it seems that people are the problem. So when I read this survey, I was fascinated by this. I thought, hang on a minute, of all the intricacies of law and regulation, all the complex business processes, all of the difficult technological decisions we have to make when we're delivering a data governance program, none of that is the big issue. The big issue is people. It's just people. Have we underestimated the difficulty of cultural change? So the desire seems to be there. There's more chief information officers being appointed now than there ever has been in the past. We know the value of data governance. We know it gives us better business results. We know we need it to comply with the law and regulation, and we would definitely want it to protect ourselves against cybercrime. But successful programs are still in the minority. So we shouldn't be too surprised. Whenever there's been change, people are resistant. So when they first introduced electricity, people said, I don't want that. It's not coming in my house. Ugly wires, going to burn my house down. But that didn't put off the electric companies because they knew that people did want light safely and conveniently. They knew they had a product to sell. They just had to convince people how to provide it, how they could provide it for them. And this we know, people want good data, safely and conveniently. We just need to convince them how we can provide it for them. We need to address the human factors of data governance before it hangs around and becomes the problem of the next 10 years. So I think we can change attitudes by delivering data governance as a customer service. So customer service is the process of identifying and satisfying customer needs. So for us, that's what do people want from their data and how can we best deliver it for them. Customer service is, yes, I can do that for you. I'm so sorry for your frustration. Let me see how I can fix it. Imagine if your data governance service was so good that people wondered how they lived without it. So I've had 20 years in the service delivery industry, and I can tell you, good service doesn't just happen. It is crafted. There's some things you have to do before you can even set about delivering a service. First of all, you have to know who your customers are. Your customers are the difference between success and failure. So, if you make the people of your business your customers, you can't fail to link your data governance program to the business's objectives, because it's the goals of these people to deliver the business objectives. At the pension regulator, we've got some fairly strong leaders that we've singled out as our data owners. I can't imagine them letting us get too far with our program without involving them and understanding what it is they need. Secondly, no good service provider ever set up service without doing their market research. So who's providing what to whom, what's good about it and what's bad about it. If you haven't done a data maturity assessment, this is the moment. Choose one that can survey your business for data readiness, and then you can present the results back to your senior leaders as the business view, and that will help you gain buy-in and support for your data governance program. So once you know where you are, you can plan where you want to go, bringing us to our framework. What do you intend to do about it? So at Virgin Atlantic, if you're lucky enough to travel in upper class, shortly after you arrive on board, a crew member will approach you by name. They will know what you want from the duty-free, usually, and they will know how you take your cup of tea. It's not intuition, and it's not because the crew members are good, although some of them are quite good actually. It is because there's an element of the framework called service consistency that has been designed to fulfill this purpose. So service providers use frameworks to map the end-to-end customer journey, all the people, process and touch points that customer goes through in order to experience that service. So your data governance framework maps your end-to-end data lifecycle, all the people, processes and touch points that data needs to go through in order to become governed data. So that's good, you've done the basics. How do you deliver? So there's loads of skills you need, and in the interest of time, I've picked out a few, because you need loads of skills, as I say, but without these three, nothing actually gets done. Service providers know it, but do data governance providers know it? So I used to be a flight manager on Boeing 747 aircraft. So we'd have 500 customers and 16 cabin crew. Keeping that number of people happy in a metal tube for 10 hours needs strong leadership. You have to control and optimize every situation and focus on the end goal, which is landing safely with as many happy customers as possible. Your data governance program needs some strong leadership. You need to control and optimize every situation and focus on the end goal, which is landing it as safely as possible with as many happy customers as possible. So the best way to lead, in my experience, is servant leadership. So servant leadership is putting the interests of others at the heart of decision making. There was never a better phrase for data governance. People don't care where you're from or what your past achievements were. They actually care about your willingness to roll up your sleeves and work alongside them, to do the boring, mundane stuff as well as the exciting stuff. It inspires people to follow you and it earns respect. Secondly, reactive short-term fixes are just firefighting. You fix something over here and then the next fix might reverse it. You have to manage proactively. It works for service delivery, and I think it will work for data management. You have to use a proactive management model. So you have to assess what needs to be done. Then you prioritise, then you clarify what's expected. You assign some specific responsibilities to actual people, monitor and amend as things change, and then you evaluate what's happened and celebrate your success. Lastly, have you ever had bad service because no one was in charge? The first thing you say is, where's the manager? So the manager's there to step up and resolve your problems. With your data, it needs ownership. It needs formal responsibility, someone to step up and resolve problems, someone to truly protect and develop your data. You have to have leadership. Without it, nothing gets done. So the reason there aren't more successful data-driven businesses can be put down to poor communication. This might sound obvious, but if it were, I think we'd have data-driven businesses all over the place, and clearly we haven't. So I think we need to think about this stuff. So, some tips on good communication. First of all, listen. No point banging on about yourself, about the wonder of data lineage and how it holds the key to unlocking the mystery of your data estate. Fascinating. They don't care. Service providers listen to the voice of the customer. They make decisions and choices based on the Net Promoter Score. They're just listening to what their customers are telling them. Listen. Secondly, you've got to use variety. You've got to mix it up. People learn in different ways. Don't be tempted just to send out a mass communication to tick the comms box. So a newsletter is nice, but it's just backup. You need to use every medium available to you constantly. And don't underestimate the power of face-to-face, because you'll learn 10 times more than you would if you just pinged off an email, and you'll create a relationship with that person, and that could be valuable to you later on. And then lastly, so I speak a bit of French. I like to think I speak a bit of French. And once on an aircraft, I explained to a lady who only spoke French that we were going down. She took a while to be calmed. I can't overestimate the importance of speaking a common language. So setting up a business glossary is an ideal starting point. Get all the departments of your business talking the same language. Secondly, you've got to keep it real. So if you're speaking to finance, talk about data as the new currency. It can be squandered, it can be used wisely. And don't be afraid to use simple, plain English. So I've had some of my best data conversations talking about beans in tins and water in buckets. So, teamwork. The people that use your data can be really powerful, but you have to organise them. So people have got this natural instinct, they want to belong to things. So in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, belonging is third, only to food and shelter, and safety and love. So it's quite high on the agenda. We want to belong, we want to be in a club. Well, this is good, because data governance is an inclusive club. We don't care who you are, we don't care if your contribution is big and important or it's small and insignificant, but the more of you involved in the club in getting it working, the more successful we will be, and the quicker we will be successful. And when people are in a club, they don't want to say, oh, I'm in this rubbish club, it takes up all my time and I don't get any rewards. They want to say, I'm in this fantastic club, look at how it's benefited me. They want you to succeed if you get them in your club. So my purse is full of loyalty cards. It's good for businesses and it's good for customers. The business gets to create a relationship with you and the customer gets rewarded. If there's a relationship there, the person is more likely to tell you when stuff goes wrong. This is good, we want to know this stuff. What's even more amazing is, if you then fix something that they've told you has gone wrong, statistically, they will tell twice as many people about you than if you'd just got it right in the first place. And there's nothing like a convert for selling your data governance program. So get people involved. Shift data from being the problem of the few to the opportunity of the many. So teamwork. So those leadership, communication, teamwork, we need those. Without them, nothing gets done. But if you're serious about embedding change within your organisation, you're going to have to dig a bit deeper. So I don't think, this is a bit of a bold statement to make here, but I don't think technology will ever replace humans for service delivery, because a computer cannot empathize with you, doesn't really understand you to any level, and it certainly doesn't care about you. These are qualities a computer doesn't have. If you can demonstrate these three, you are guaranteed to improve your chance of success with data governance. So I once found myself in Raffles Hotel in Singapore, and I was eating this delicious rose-flavoured ice cream from a silver urn that smoked with dry ice. My husband was sitting across from me, and he looked at the ice cream as if to say, I really want to taste that ice cream. But before he even uttered a word, a waiter appeared from nowhere and handed him a silver spoon. We were stunned at his perceptiveness. So the ability to sense and anticipate what other people need will improve your data governance program, and your career and your life probably, for that matter. If you can empathise with people and then pitch your response so they feel understood, it's the difference between making a connection or just missing a chance. So we've got to work hard to see it through other people's eyes. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with them, it's about understanding them. So if someone says to you, I don't need data governance actually, my department works perfectly well, thank you, we've got data. Well, if you think about it from their perspective, they actually don't need data governance at that point. What they need is for you to understand, or for you to tell them why they do need data governance, because, as we know, everyone needs data governance. So when people are reluctant to share the intricacies of their ways of working, take some time to think about it from their perspective, because it can make all the difference. And if you're still not convinced, people with a high emotional intelligence are proven to be more successful than people with a high IQ. So emotional intelligence is superior to intellect. So, understanding. So if your data governance program hasn't quite taken off as you'd like it to, there's a fair chance that people haven't got a clue what you're going on about. The consequences of poorly informed people can be far-reaching in terms of knock-on costs, lost insight, lost potential of the use of your data. You need to understand them, they need to understand you, and you both need to understand the benefits. So in service delivery, understanding the customer's expectations is a prerequisite for service excellence. You can't have a hope of delivering anything to them if you don't understand what they're expecting. Similarly, in service delivery, over-promising and under-delivering is the ultimate service sin. At Virgin Atlantic, we had to avoid it at all costs. So you have to be, in order to sort of avoid that, you have to be transparent and crystal clear about what it is you can offer people, what you are offering, and also about what it is that you're not offering. So the understanding has to be there. And you both have to understand the benefits. So in service, product knowledge is basically what you need to sell things to people. So if you've got product knowledge, it means more sales. Is that okay? You can hear? Had a little blip? Okay. So yeah, if you've got product knowledge, you can sell more stuff, because you can. But it's hard to sell it if you can't see how it benefits somebody. That's how you sell stuff. You tell them how it benefits them. So you have to think about, how is this benefiting the person? What is the upsell? What do they stand to gain from data governance? That's where you have to place the emphasis. If you understand it, if you understand your product, and you can get them to understand it, you're moving forwards in the right direction together. So, last one of this section, so how we're putting the me into our framework. Caring. There's a lot to care about in business these days. It's not just about profit and loss anymore. You've got to care about people, you've got to care about processes, you've got to care about your product, you've got to care about the environment, world peace, and now you've got to care about your data. The best service providers genuinely care about what they do. So you could say that a company that hasn't grasped data governance is a company that doesn't care about their data. Compliant, law-abiding, and honest. Not misusing people's information. data ethics is all part of the service. That is what we are paid to do. That is data governance, caring about the data. But it's not just caring about the data. You'll get faster results if you care about the people delivering it as well, because if you start to use those people's ideas, you can improve attitudes at work, you can shape your culture, you can drive business improvement for people, not just for profit. So data governance isn't like other aspects of business. It's not about doing it quicker or doing it cheaper. Don't get me wrong, if you embed data governance in your organisation, you will get quicker and you will get cheaper. But they're just byproducts. Data governance is about doing it right. You have to care. Data governance is a journey, not a destination, and it matters how you get there. So, this is the last section. People ask me, what's the secret to a successful data governance program? And the answer is, keep going. The real reason data governance programs fail is because they stop. You need motivation, resilience, and innovation to keep going. You're in it for the long haul. A service provider's work is never done. There's always somebody that wants something, there's always something that can be done better. So you have to think to yourself, what motivates you? What motivates you to keep going? So I work at the pension regulator. So I feel that there are people out there in their old age that won't be able to switch on their heating because a pension scammer has stolen away their life savings. And if we get this right, if we can optimise the way we use data and the way we analyse it, we could make pension scammers a thing of the past. That's a reality in the future. So that motivates me. What motivates you? What are your business's motivations for data initiatives? If you can find them, even just a few of them, and set them up, they will motivate you and others to be data-driven. So every service provider knows you can't please all the people all the time. There's going to be challenges and stuff's going to go wrong. But when things go wrong, it's how you deal with them that will be the difference. That really matters. What effect you let it have on you. Because if you let it affect you, it will wear you down and you will give up. You have to be resilient. You have to be able to adapt well when faced with adversity. You need to be able to take setbacks in your stride. So highly successful people do this all the time. So they're particularly good at failure. Entrepreneurs are very good at it. So they'll try 99 things and then the 100th thing will work. Don't be afraid to fail. Richard Branson said to me once, anyone that tells you they don't make a mistake has just made one. So get out there, deliver your data governance program, and when it goes wrong, don't take it to heart, because that's when you're really learning and you're closer to achieving your goals. Data governance is simple, but it's not easy. And if it was easy, it would be boring. So, in service delivery in every industry, you'll know one if you don't stay one step ahead of the times. If you don't, it can actually be fatal. If you think about those businesses like Blockbuster Video, they weren't looking forwards. You have to be constantly one step ahead. Don't be satisfied with the data that just ticks boxes. You've got to be constantly thinking about what will make this better and clearer and quicker. It's also not just about thinking about the data, it's thinking about how you solve problems. So challenging current thinking, solving problems with new ideas. That's been proven to increase productivity, competitive advantage and profit. So data governance takes a while. You need to look to the future. So we have talked about how we're going to think differently about data governance and delivering it as a customer service. We looked at delivering the goods, because without leadership, communication and teamwork, nothing actually gets done. We thought about how you can put the me into your framework and make it real for people, empathizing, understanding and caring. And then we considered how to keep going with motivation, resilience and innovation. So now that we've agreed these things, Don't look back at what's hindered you in the past. Let's look forwards, go back to our businesses, deliver great data governance service. And I hope I've motivated you to think differently about your data governance approach. Thank you.